Hey guys, it's Danny Tato, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play series of Project Hospital. This is a game put out by a nice little outfit called Oxymoron Games. I think it went 1.0, I want to say something like 6 years ago, but it's a great little game. I've been following it for a long time, dabbled here and there, and it's just, if you've played like me when you were younger, you played Theme Hospital, you've kind of been waiting for just another game to kind of scratch that same itch. Now, there are key differences here between Theme Hospital and Project Hospital. Theme Hospital was definitely all about the humor. It was more of a funny take on the hospital management kind of genre, whereas Project Hospital is much more, I wouldn't say serious. It definitely is more serious, definitely not about humor necessarily, but it's just a little more straightforward, cut and dry. I love the art style. I mean, it's got so much to offer. There's a campaign, there's tutorials, it's kind of got everything. It's well-rounded, I guess, was what I'm trying to say here. So anyways, we're going to jump in. We're going to start a new game here. Again, like I said, there's a campaign, scenarios. They've a bunch of DLC, which we're not playing with. We're playing kind of the vanilla mode. So we're going to go here, we're going to go to Sandbox, and we're going to do the empty field, the 96 by 96. They have a few different sizes. They also have some that start off with actual like hospitals built up, and then you can just place everything inside of it. But we're going to go with the 96 by 96. We do have patients, patients will die, and they can die. I shouldn't say they will, but they probably will. We're not going to unlock all departments right away. I'm going to give like the complete vanilla kind of take. I have played with unlock all departments on, and it's a nice way, once you get how the flow of all the different departments kind of works, you can kind of do that and then build the hospital you want. There's also free building, which is like a true sandbox if you just want to kind of go for the design aspect, which is a totally fair way to play, but we're not going to do that this time. So we're going to start here, let it load up. So really what you're doing here is it feels very closer to an American kind of system of healthcare, where there's like insurance companies you have to deal with. The more insurance companies that you unlock, the more patients you're going to see, the more goals you have, the more rewards you get, so on and so forth. So you get that feeling of progression. And then, of course, there's DLC that really do enhance a few aspects of the gameplay, but I have not, jumped into them. I've read the reviews; they do seem good. I'll probably check them out in the future, but not for now. It is taking a while to load. Okay, there we go. All right, so you start off with your plot of land. It does start off paused, which I always appreciate because I like managing my time. So we have this nice little plot. There's a little parking lot. The patients generally arrive by foot. Unless you get ambulances later on you can unlock, and then they will park over here. So you don't have to build right on this parking lot. And in fact, we probably won't. Now, a few things to cover here. Top left, we have the different sort of modes here. So we have game mode, which is just the simulation is running and you're watching everything kind of go and seeing where you need to maybe make some changes. We have building mode here, which of course is where we can start laying foundations, build walls, windows, doors, all kinds of fun stuff. We'll get to that once we, actually really soon probably. You have management mode, which is for each department. You have different setups here. This is a lot to explain. We'll do that when we actually start placing things, but you can see for a clinic, we need certain kinds of rooms. There's shared rooms that aren't, specific to this department that we can share between different departments. You have the staff down here, and then some other, we'll get more into this as we go. And then this is possibly your favorite or your least favorite. You all either use it, a lot of the time or never. And that's doctor mode. And what you can do is you can control a doctor, and we're gonna have a ton of doctors, but you can control one, and basically, as it says here in the tooltip, every patient that they see, you are in control of what examinations they get, where do you send them for different diagnostic tools and things like that. And then eventually, ultimately you're going to diagnose them and treat them, which is really fun, and it's really, nice way to play. In fact, sometimes I'll set up a really basic clinic with the most basic kind of departments, and then just kind of play doctor for a while. So it is kind of fun. Excuse me. And there are some mods that add like, slightly different diseases, different examinations, and things like that are can be fun to play with as well. We'll dabble with this the first maybe day or two. We'll probably just pick one doctor that we'll control, but after a while you start getting 30, 40, 50 patients in your hospital every day, and even upwards of that, and it just gets to be too much. And I prefer, I guess, the management part of it rather than the intricate, detailed, I'm going to, diagnose every patient. It does get kind of cumbersome, I should say. So we're going to start off here. We're just going to lay some foundation. And I do have a setting check. There's a setting where when you lay foundation, it automatically builds walls around it. I can't see why I wouldn't want that. So we're going to zoom in just a little bit here. I'm going to start right around this tree here. And we'll just go like 22 maybe. Something like that, 22 by 24. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And you can see that's a nice size. We spent $27,000. We do start off with $100,000 as our budget. We can see the patients we've treated, the patients we have not been able to treat, and then the expected number of patients we should get. The number of our staff, our reputation, prestige is what they call it. And then the various sort of other buttons we'll get to as we go. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the walls here just as we start. And what you want to do is you want to start planning your emergency department. So one thing you're going to need, actually, before I do that, I'm going to go back and I'm just going to build the entrance just so I can see how things line up. I'm going to go with the sliding double door. I'm going to line it up with our crosswalk here, and then I'm actually going to, just to make it look nice, we're going to put some floors here, some rocks there, just so it's like a little entrance. Should I go all the way? Yeah, let's do it like that. And there we go. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on our emergency clinic here, and we can see we need a waiting room, a doctor's office, reception, and a cleaning closet. We actually don't need a reception cleaning closet. We know that because they are green over here, whereas these are red. So we must have, to open up this clinic, a waiting room, a doctor's office, and a restroom, and then of course one doctor. Once we have that, we've met all the requirements. So we're going to start off, I am going to put a reception. We're probably not going to flesh it out quite yet. But we are going to set it up just so we have the space kind of reserved for it. We can kind of imagine where it is, and we're just going to kind of leave it like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to place our doctor's office. Now it says here in the tooltip, this is a basic clinical office for simple examinations and treatments, and we have the staff requirements. We need one doctor. It's got to be 4x4 at least. And then we'll see there's requirements of the equipment and furniture we need to place inside. So we'll see that as well. I think I'm just going to start off right here, just kind of keep it simple. We might go 5x5. We'll do 4x5. I think we can fit everything in with a 4x5. That gives us, I think the requirement is 4x4. And I'm just going to do one more 4x5 because we are going to end up with 2. We're going to start off with 1. I'll probably build the second one, and then as we need another doctor, we'll just put the doctor in there. So we've got some doctor's offices. And then the waiting room is kind of a nice little system here. Basically, you're flagging where you want the people to wait when they're waiting to get into these offices here, or anywhere in this department, I really should say. But definitely for these offices, for this, the way this department works is basically there's just a doctor's office. So any waiting room is going to tie them to the doctor's office. And you'll see sort of why this system makes a lot of sense later on. There's some logic here that plays in this. It can help you manage where your patients go and the flow of the patients coming in and getting out of your hospital. So pay attention to that a little bit later on. We also need a restroom, so I'm going to go ahead and place that. I want it to be kind of central because multiple departments are going to be using that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little space here and just kind of build it right here. Do a 6x5, and we'll put multiple stalls and set it up in a moment. And I am also, we don't need it, but I am going to put a common room. It's just a place, again, for your staff to rest and relax and things like that. Again, I want it pretty central because multiple departments will use it. And we'll do 6x5 there. And then we'll need a cleaning closet. For now, I'll probably just place it like right here. It doesn't need to be very big. We'll just do 3x4 right here. All right. And now you can see when you place these, what you're missing. You can see the warnings here. So we're going to start off with our doctor's office. We're missing equipment, missing staff. We don't have anything in here. And then it gives you the workload. So after a shift, you have a day shift and a night shift. Excuse me, my throat not cooperating right now. It'll tell you the workload. So it can go all the way up to, sort of like overloaded or like, completely, the highest workload possible. I forget the name of it. You'll see it in a minute. Down to none. Obviously, it's not used at all. It's idle. And that way you can sort of, as a manager of your hospital, you can kind of see, okay, where, I'm overloaded on my doctor's offices. I need to build a few more. And that way you can kind of gauge what you need next and what your next move is. So we're going to go ahead and start building. It's very Sims-like with how you do this. There's a few quality of life things I wish they had added, but it's not in. Things like placing, like when I place this wall, okay, we're going to go color coded. I'm going to start with the bottom right here, and every new department we'll just kind of work our way down. But you'll see here, if I put the walls up, or let's do it this way. When I place this, it puts the texture on the inside, which is great. And over here, it puts the texture on the inside as well. If I go all the way, you can see. But if I do this, you'll see that the outside got the texture but if I rotate around here, the inside did not, and it drives me nuts. So if you're going for like a real like aesthetic kind of gameplay, you're missing out on that. I'm not going to go for that. I'm just going to, hey, we need the walls. We're going to put them. And then later on, maybe between episodes, I'll like tidy it up so it looks better. But for now, we're going to be stuck with this ugly bare wall thing going on. And we'll just be okay with it. Just I'll fix it up later for those of you that bothers. I promise I'll fix it. All right, so we placed our walls. And we're going to place floors too. I'm just going to go with like a simple, let's go with like a medium white tile here. It looks nice and clean. It does make the text kind of hard to read, but it's fine. All right, so now that we've constructed the walls, we need to like, okay, what do we need? Oh, actually, I should probably put a door. So let's put a door first. I start off with these white doors with the window. Again, color code it just so we have it. Yeah, I'll probably put you here. And then what you need to do here, once you've got your walls and your door set up, you need to click on the floor where you sort of set up what office is going to be. And it opens up automatically, puts you into building mode with your medical equipment. And then you can see this is like, can be a lot. There's 2 pages here worth of equipment, furniture, things you can put in here. And you're like, well, what am I supposed to put here? Rather than look at a list of requirements, what they did was they color coded it. So anything here that has this darker orange kind of color or background, that is a required item or type of item. For example, we need to have an exam table. It's got to be in here. It's required. There's no other type of exam table, so we know this is the only one. Now that we've placed it, no background. So we know that that requirement has been met. So this looks like we have to fit a lot of stuff here, but you'll notice there's like 3 different types of printers. We have, first of all, just a paper holder, which basically is like prescription pad. Doctor grabs the prescription pad, writes the prescription, hands it to the patient. It's slow, right? But it's cheap, $19. Then you have your sort of middle of the road printer, you know, prints pretty fast. And then you have your like souped up office printer, $400. You know, again, speeds things up, but it costs more money. You don't need all 3 of these. You only need one. So once you place one, you've met that criteria, and you'll see all 3 of them will no longer be highlighted. So we don't have quite as much to put in here as it looks, but that's just kind of the way it works. So once you have our exam table, we need a medical light, and you'll see the blue arrow pop up. Okay, I have to place it there. I cannot place it anywhere else here. Okay. And again, that examination lamp goes away now because we did the medical light. Costs more money, but I like this one better. It saves space because it goes right over the bed. We need a disinfectant dispenser is what I like to use. So I'm going to put that there. And then I put the biohazard bin right under it. Again, save space, put multiple things in one tile. We need a, what is it called? The equipment table. I'm going to put right here next to at the end of the bed here. And I'm going to put our audiometer here, or audiometer, depending on how you pronounce it. I'm going to put the smaller equipment cabinet that's on the floor here, because I can also put the CRP scan here, and I believe I can put the eye test right here as well. If the eye test doesn't work, like for example here, I cannot put it here, it won't work, but also you'll notice some things will turn yellow. Like if I place this, that would work for some reason. If I place another trash bin right, no, that doesn't do it either. Well, there is a way, you'll notice it later. It'll turn things yellow, and that just means it's blocking the path of something else. Whereas if it's red, it's just like not going to work at all. So for min-maxing how you want to place stuff, you'll kind of get used to what works and what doesn't. So next thing we need here, we obviously need a desk for the doctor. So we're going to put the desk there, and I'm actually going to move all of this stuff right over here because this is going to end up being kind of weird. Let's see if I can fix this a little bit. Put our audiometer. Nope. See, like that yellow. This is blocking the trash cans. Like, yeah, I can put it here, but it makes the trash can yellow. It's hard to see it, but it does turn yellow. So I guess we'll leave it like this. It's just going to be a little bit awkward. Maybe I can do it. This works better. All right. So I'm going to put the desk there. I'm going to put the PC spot on top, and I'm going to go with the office chair. Place it right here, and that hits those requirements. I need a printer. I'll go with the middle of the road printer for this one. And then a whiteboard, we'll put that right here. That's for like when you have trouble diagnosing, if the doctor needs to kind of put their heads down to the books and really pay attention to all the symptoms, they can make an educated guess. They need the whiteboard for that. So we'll put that there. Now, one thing I'm a little bit annoyed it doesn't set as a requirement or even a recommendation is a chair for the patient. If you don't put a chair, the patient's going to come in and just stand awkwardly here next to the doctor and talk to them. Whereas if you put a nice chair here, they can actually sit down and talk to the doctor. That's why I was worried about the placement of the desk. because I wanted to make sure they had a place to sit. So those are the requirements that you really need to kind of make things flow well. Could I have made this room a little bit smaller? Probably. However, I do like to, decorate things. I like to make it look semi-realistic, pay attention to some of the details. So I'm going to go over here to decorations. And again, this is where you're freeform. You can place whatever you want, wherever you want it. It's just decoration. It's just really for you. Nothing here adds any like efficiency to the room or anything like that. That's not how it works. So I always like to put a clock in every room. I just think it makes sense managing your shift, your lunch break, whatever. The doctor can see or the staff member can see the clock. I also like to put a diploma somewhere. Again, this does serve a purpose. Anything placed on a wall, like a poster or a diploma, if it's in a waiting room, like out here, when patients are sitting and waiting and they're, let's say bored, they may get up and look at a poster, something like that. It just makes them feel like they're not super bored. Hits the recreation a little bit. So I like to do that. It serves literally no purpose in a room, but I like the idea of a doctor having their diploma up on the wall, just as a nice feature. And then I like to put a plant. I don't think I'm going to have a good space to put a plant here with the way this room is set up. So I might avoid that. Let me see if I can. This might make more sense to put this over here. And then I can fit a plant in the corner. So perfect. So that works for the layout of the room. Again, you could have done smaller. The requirement is 4x4. We went with 4x5. But there you go. Now here's one of the best features of this game and any management game or like building game. Okay, if you click over the prefabs, first of all, if you click on emergency, you can pick some of the prefabs if you don't want to place everything. And believe me, there are times where, like, especially at the beginning, if you find this overwhelming, don't do this. Go to prefabs, find the size you want. There's all kinds of different areas. So you have the doctor's office for 6x6, a 6x4, 6x8, some pretty big ones, and a whole nother page one that you can unlock later on. Cleaning closets, but I do tend to find these set prefabs are pretty big. They have a lot of extra stuff in them. So if you're going for like min-maxing your budget, this is not the way to go. What you can do though, if you click this button right here, you can create your own prefab. And if you know what that means, this is a super powerful tool. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this office, and if I just move my mouse over, I can click right now and it will place not only all the equipment but also the walls, everything on the walls right there for you, and you don't have to do any more of the work. Okay. The other thing you can do is once you have this prefab, you can save it, and then you can see you can have save prefabs here. And I have a couple that I just was testing out, seeing how that works. Super powerful tool. So like if you like a certain setup, you can save it between hospitals, not just for this exact save. So we're going to go ahead, copy this, place it just so we have it. I'm probably not going to put a doctor in here for day one, but now we have it. So we have our first two doctor's office set up. So we have some room for growth here. All right, so there we go. Next thing we need to do here is we need to click on our waiting room and set that up. So obviously with the waiting room, you're going to need benches, places for people to sit. So we'll put a few of those down. Okay. Now the other thing you'll notice you can do, and you don't have to, again, it's yellow, so this is just recommended, is a queue machine. This is really great. So the patient walks up, pushes a button, and then on a TV screen, it's sort of, you may have seen this if you go to the DMV or some of doctor's offices. There's a screen that's sort of, okay, here's your name, and you can see like what order you are and how long maybe it takes for you to, be seen. What this does in the game is, for like practicality wise, is if you don't have this, patient sits down. When the doctor's ready for patient, they walk out here, come to the front, call out a name, come back and sit down, and then the patient comes in and sits down. What this does is as soon as the doctor's ready, they don't have to move. It pings, says, all right, so-and-so, you're ready, and they come in. So it saves a little bit of time, makes things a little more efficient. So it's a really nice thing. I always set it up whenever possible. It just makes things a little bit easier. And then, of course, things like a vending machine, maybe some water. I don't think I can place it there, so we'll place it around the corner over here. And then you can also do a coffee machine. I'll probably do that as well. Let's put it next to the water here, and we have space for another bench, so we'll just put it because we have the space. All right, so we have that set up. Next thing we need to do is a restroom. So we're going to set up some walls again. I'm going to go with the fully tiled walls here. And again, we'll just build around. I believe you can also do like the square build. I'm just choosing not to do that right now. And we're going to put a just white door here. We'll put it somewhere towards the middle like that. Okay. And then we're going to click, and we can see we obviously need our bathrooms, our toilets, I'm sorry. And this one's going to be a little bit different. I'll put it here. And again, this is more of a realism aspect that I do, something I like to do. We'll get to that in a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to build the, what are these called? Restroom walls. I'm just going to build all the way across here. We're going to build the walls right there. And I'm going to have one bigger. What I like to do is I like to mimic a handicap stall, right? So like someone maybe in a wheelchair or something like that. That is not in the game. It's just the way I like to do it, just to make it a little more realistic. Again, I like a little bit of the design aspect. Not too much, but a little bit. Then we're going to go to doors, and we need to make sure our stalls have doors. Make sure you change your color back. And we're going to place our doors in for each stall. So there we go. And then we're going to place our sink in there. And then we're going to put some sinks out here as well. We'll just put like 3. We don't have to have one perfectly for every stall. Put some hand dryers. And then I like to put a trash bin. Unlike Theme Hospital, your patients, staff, whatever, they don't actually generate trash they have to throw away. So you could feasibly have a hospital with no trash cans and it would be fine. They do track dirt on their feet. Some are dirtier than others. Some have, we'll see when we do staff that they have certain traits. So some have like super clean feet, some have super messy feet. But we don't need trash cans. But again, I'm going to put it because any bathroom is going to have a trash can. We need to place floors, and I'm going to go with the small tile here, place it in there, and now we have a nice looking bathroom. So there we go. All right, common room. We need to build walls. I'm going to go with like something a little bit like, let's go like with the half dark wood panels here. Again, we'll just build the walls around. There we go. Let's put a door. Again, I'm going to put a sort of privacy door here. Put the entrance here. I might do a second entrance here, so staff members coming from this way have, excuse me, easy access. So let's go ahead and let's do the flooring here. I'm going to do like the light colored wood. That way it's just not super dark. And if we look here, kind of see what it looks like. Looks fine to me. We're not going to be super picky on the details. Again, in between episodes, I'll probably go through and set that up. That way you guys don't have to watch it. All right, so common room, we're going to want a fridge and a couple cabinets here. This one here, because that one's going to contain the sink, and this one we'll place here, and that will have the coffee machine on it. Let's get our sink going. People can wash their hands and dishes. Then we're going to do like a eating area. I guess we'll do that first. So let's put the table. We usually don't have a ton of people eating at the same time, so we'll just put that there and a couple of fancy chairs so they're comfy. I have another space here. See what I put here. I might just put a locker here. We can store stuff if they need to. All right, let's set up our sort of like living area, or not living, but living room kind of area. Actually, let's move it over here. Didn't mean to zoom in. And we'll place our bookcase there, and then probably put one of these tables here, or like 2 next to each other. And what we'll do is we'll put a radio kind of facing out, and then a TV. Again, don't worry too much about the placement. I have had people watching the TV, and you can tell because there's a bubble over their head, but watching the TV from here when the TV is not facing them. So don't stress too much about that. And then we don't really need much else. I'm probably just going to put another sofa here and see if maybe people can utilize the TV from here too. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then again, decorations, what do we want to put in here? Let's put in a clock so they don't stay too long. And then we'll put like a notice board. Like I can imagine like some staff notes being here. Hey, who's got what shift, or, OSHA compliance or whatever, rules, regulations, things like that. So we have our common room set up. All we're missing here is a cleaning closet. We don't have to have it, but let's go ahead and set it up anyways. So we'll just put it right here. We'll put a door. This time I'm going to put a restricted area door on this one, just to, simulate the idea of people shouldn't be going in here. For every shelf is a workstation. So if you want like only one person working here, one janitor working here for each shift, only put one. I like to put a couple just to fill it in. We'll put some carts over here. Again, they need hand carts to clean. I don't think they require it. I could be wrong on that. but either way, it's nice to have. We're going to put a sink, even though we don't have to have it, and like a little hamper, so any scrubs or dirty sheets or whatever they can throw in there. And then we're going to go to our floor again. Do some tile here. Okay, so there we go. And then we have the basic requirements of what we need aside from staff. I do want to flesh out one other thing. I am going to put some flooring here. It's going to be a little redundant because we'll have flooring that we're going to place, and then when we build more offices, we're going to replace the flooring, but it's fine. So we're going to go ahead and just place some flooring here. I don't think there's any hotkey here to fill it all in. So we're just going to go ahead and place it all here. That was a horrible click. This way, and over here, and then right here. One other note real quick, if we look at our layout here, for the janitors, when they go and clean, they prioritize first their department. So this is built under the emergency department. So they're going to prioritize the highlighted areas you see here. They're going to start with the doctor's offices, the waiting room, reception, and these two squares here for the bathroom and the common room. They will then go to other departments sort of after this area is clean. So if you want them to not leave all this area dirty, you want to fill it in with corridors. I'm not going to worry about it right now because we're going to build a lot more rooms before I even hire a janitor. You don't need it right away. But I do want it built just so we have it, and so it is something that you do want to have in the future that you want to plan for the layout of your hospital. So keep that in mind. They go by department. So you can see if I go over here to radiology, they also have a cleaning closet as well. And they will prioritize the radiology areas before they go to any other area. So it is nice that they do go to other areas and they prioritize their own, just so you can kind of control where they're gonna be most efficient and things like that. So all right, so you can see we have all the requirements we need. Everything is green except for our staff. We do need to hire a doctor. So we're gonna go ahead and we have our PC here on the desk, so that's our workstation. We're gonna click on the day shift doctor to hire, and it gives us 4 options. Okay, so we have Daniel, Kirsty, Suzanne, and Joanna. We can filter this for different qualities. For example, if we want someone with advanced diagnosis, okay, we can click on that and it'll filter for that. All we need is a doctor that's a clinic doctor. That's all we need. They have general medicine. That's all we have to have. You notice though they have different qualifications for each one, and then they have different I forget what they call this, levels? I can't remember. Proficiency? I don't think it says. I think it says on a different screen. But either way, you have up to 5. So his level here at 3 is attending, so it's a level, I guess is what they call it, yeah. So he's an attending, 4 is a fellow, 2 is a resident, 5 is a specialist, right? So again, with that comes a different salary. The other thing to take into account, I should say, is their traits, okay? Now, Daniel has clean feet, so he really will not make the floors dirty as he walks around. That's nice if you really want to save on the time your janitor spends cleaning up. He also could have some hidden traits, however, or perks they call them. However, we know that he has no extra traits, so this is a very what you're getting here. He's an attending, so he's level 3. He will not make anything very dirty, and there's no other sort of curveballs here. Some of the other traits or perks you can see: a fresh parent, his rest levels are her rest levels are gonna decrease faster. So as the shift goes on, she gets tired more quickly. And then she has a hidden perk. We don't know what that is. Could be great, could be horrible. So you want to take that into account when you pick who you're going to hire. I'm going to start off actually with this one right here, Join Alliance, because she is the best. She is expensive, but I do early on want to have a chief doctor. It helps improve the morale of the entire department, the emergency department. So you want to pick your best doctor and make them the chief doctor. So she's fast. She's got the resistance. So her rest levels actually decrease slower. She does have a hidden perk. She is really old at 73. I don't know. I've never dealt with a doctor retiring. I'm sure it's in the game. I just haven't dealt with it. So I'm not too worried about that, but that is pretty high. The other option is I could go with Kirsty here. She's a fellow. She has 2 hidden perks. We don't know what they are, but she's got that level 4, and it's $200 fewer. Maybe I'll do that, and maybe I won't do a chief doctor right away. and we'll see what our perks are. We'll check in later on. You learn perks as you go. After a few shifts, you start to figure out, okay, this person is really grumpy, or this person's really fast, or whatever it may be. So let's go with Kirsty. We're not going to do a chief doctor right away. So we'll hire her, and you can see now our hospital is ready to accept patients. So our hospital now has enough staff to accept first patients. First, insurance companies are automatically contracted. This is where we talk about insurance companies. So we'll click on insurance management, and you can see that we have Cheapo Care here. Great name for an insurance company. And this is the only insurance company we have enabled right now. We can't do anything else. We have requirements here. So once we treat 3 patients, we can do uninsured patients, but we're not there yet. The patients here pay 80% of the value, I believe is what this is. Coverage cost modifier for patients sent by this company. So multiply the cost of what you treat them for by 80. So we're a little bit down. This does, I believe, increase over time, depending on your reputation, things like that. So you can see our first objective here is treat 1 patient per day at emergency, and our reward is $20,000 as a government grant. So we really want to do that. Get that done. And we also see what this insurance sends us. So they will send us 10 patients each day to the clinic, and then none by ambulance. We don't have any coming in that are injured and need to come here by ambulance. So very simple setup right off the bat. As we unlock more, you can see we get different objectives. There will be different rewards. And within this, like once we treat 1 patient, we'll have a new objective. You can see there are 11 here, the 11 total objectives just for this insurance company. So it really gives you a flow of the game here as you go. There's also some department statistics. You have your ambulances, none of which we have. You have your budget here, which we'll look at more later on, and then some statistics as well. One thing we need to do is name our hospital. So we're going to go ahead and do that. What are we going to go with here? Should we go with, I don't know. Let's go with Tato Hospital. Let's keep it simple. Okay, I can't type though. Tato Hospital. Keep it simple. We might change it later, but we'll go with that for now. And with that, we're ready to go. We can start having everything, patients come in. Last thing you want to do here is for each department or some departments, you can pick the certainty level. So if we mouse over here, we can set up a value of certainty, which will be used to confirm diagnosis. So we can go up to high, medium, and low. Positives, low will get patients in and out much quicker, but there's a higher chance that they will be misdiagnosed, miss symptoms, so on and so forth, and then lower your prestige, and even end up in patients dying eventually. I always set it up to high. I'd rather slow things down a little bit and make sure, especially early on, that our prestige is high. So we're going to set that to high. It's up to you what you want to do with. You can kind of balance it with medium. I'm going with high. And with that, I think we are ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and start time here. In fact, I'm going to speed it up. Day shift starts at 8 a.m. You can see here, clinic opens up at 8 a.m. The shift actually starts at 7. And the clinic closes at 1800 unless you have night shift workers, working as well. I'm going to do one quick thing here. I'm going to go to doctor mode, and I'm going to add Kirsty to our doctor mode. So we're going to start off controlling every patient that she gets. So basically for now, every patient that comes in, oops, I didn't mean to do that. We will be taking control of their treatment. So we're going to click on her. We'll treat our first patient, and we'll put a cut in. So if we look here, we have, another Kirsty has come in. She has 8 hidden symptoms. And right now, her active examination is she's doing an interview. So just, hey, what brings you in today, right? And then she's going to hopefully give us a couple of symptoms. Sometimes they give us none, sometimes 1, sometimes 5, just in what they can describe to you. And a lot of that will depend on patient perks. They have perks as well. So Kirsty here has a medical education, and that means she can help doctors uncover symptoms. So she's going to be very helpful in describing things and help us solve her problem because she knows a lot about how this works, right? So we're going to go ahead and let this kind of play through here. Ask some questions. So she's got a sputum cough, so she's coughing up phlegm. She's got dysphagia, which is difficulty swallowing. She also has a rash. And just from the interview, we have sort of gone through all the diagnoses and decided she has pharyngitis here. All right. So an inflammation of the throat can be caused by bacteria or a virus. We don't know if it's viral or bacterial. It's no options for it. It's just pharyngitis. And it says now that, okay, we've done all the procedures now to talk to her. Now, she still has hidden symptoms. You can only treat symptoms that you have found. So for example, this treatment right here you can see here is going to be treating, it should be this cough right here, and there you go. So it's sort of like breaks up the phlegm in her lungs, and not to get too specific here, but and it treats that. The dysphagia needs the diet, is it diet modification? Yes, diet modification. And then the rash, there's a steroid cream. But she has 5 other symptoms here. So because if I had left this as the AI to take care of it, they would do more examinations. I'm also going to do that. And the reason why they would do that, first of all, the AI would do that, is because we chose high. If we chose low, they would probably diagnose her, give her the treatments for what we found, and send her on our way. That's fine for now, but it could cause problems later. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do a physical examination. Let's take a look at that rash, see what else we can see. I want to see if she has any swollen glands, listen to her chest. Let's take a look at her mouth and throat, just make sure there's nothing else there. And we'll take a temperature to see if she has a fever. Each one of these takes a little bit of time, but it's going to help us uncover some more of those symptoms. Again, we don't have to do it, but we're going to. So we'll let this kind of play out. So, okay, come over here in the examination table. We're going to do our physical examination. You can see it's, so there we go. Ooh, that hurt when I did that. I got some joint pain. Yeah, I've got some swallow pain here. When I swallow, it hurts. A couple more symptoms still out there. Now we're doing the oral cavity inspection. See if that does anything. All right, so she's got red swollen tonsils, white patches. So again, we're getting more. She's only got 1 symptom left. So let's see if she has a fever. If we don't get this last symptom, that's okay. Maybe we missed it because our doctor wasn't skilled enough. Maybe the patient was hiding it. Some patients will be shy and they won't want to share symptoms. Or maybe we don't have the diagnostic capabilities to, maybe it's you need an x-ray to see it. That doesn't stop you from diagnosing, doesn't stop you from treating. It just means maybe, you missed something. It usually is not a big deal. So we're going to do the last thing. Okay, she did have a fever. We got all the symptoms, which is great. We know that they have pharyngitis, so we're going to click on it to diagnose them. And then we're going to set up all the treatments. So we're just going to click all of them. Do you have to click all of them? Absolutely not. You can kind of pick the most important ones that you see here. You can see here when I mouse over it, the medium with the little triangle there says that this is like a medium severity, right? So it's bothering them 5 out of 10, right? Whereas something like the rash is low, not bothering them too much. It's not super itchy, just don't like the way it looks or whatever, right? So you could not treat the rash and just treat the tonsils, the swallow pain, the things that are a little darker red here. If a symptom, whether it's hidden or not, is flashing, or like you'll notice that later on, it probably won't happen for a while. If it's flashing, that means it's a possibly like severe symptom that can cause them to pass out, to go into cardiac arrest or something like that. And you have to find that symptom before that happens, right? You're on a sort of time limit. We don't have any of those. We're not super worried about that. So we're treating everything, and we're going to make sure this patient's super happy. So you can see here, doctor comes back to the desk. She sits down, typey. She's giving all the prescriptions and the medicines that she can give. Some of these things are like diet modification. Hey, don't eat this, this don't eat vegetables, or I don't know, whatever it may be. I don't know why a doctor would say that. And then you can see as these treatments get put on, some of these things the symptoms start getting suppressed, right? Okay, we gave you, something that gets rid of your fever, something that fixes your cough. So they're feeling more and more comfortable. Their satisfaction is going up. And they're happy, right? So now that if you're manually controlling a doctor or a patient and you have finished diagnosing them, you're going to get this alert, and all you need to do here is click send treated patient home. If you're not treating them, it does it automatically, so you don't have to worry about it. So we're going to send them home. They're happy. Hey, we treated our first patient, hit our first objective, and we now have an extra $20,000. So that's super awesome. We're going to click OK here, and you can see we have a few patients waiting, and we have another one on the way. Or they might be walking by. Nope, they're coming in. Okay, so because I have a couple patients waiting, I am going to, and again, you can choose how to do this. I'm going to go ahead and hire a second doctor just to make sure we get through everybody. So am I going to pick the same one? We have 2 that are 73. So he's, Mark here is a little bit cheaper, right? But he has 2 hidden perks that we don't know about. He's also a diagnostic genius, which is really nice. I still think I'm going to go with Joanna here, and I'm going to set her officially as our chief doctor, and it's going to give a boost to the satisfaction of all of our staff here. In this department. So we'll be happy with that. So we're going to put her there, and you can see she's going to call the next person in. and we can get things moving, okay? Now, we're going to control all of the patients that go to her, but not to her. All right, I've talked for a long time. That's a lot to take in. Feel free, guys, at any time, just pause and like do your thing, and then like continue going, or rewind or whatever. I'm going too fast. I do feel like I went a little fast. Hopefully, it wasn't too much for you. If you do like what you're seeing here, feel free, guys, to give a like, subscribe if you want to. I've been taking a little break from YouTube. I'm trying to jump back in and like a set schedule. Get a little more weekly, daily videos out. And do a few different Let's Plays here. I think I have a Dwarf Fortress one in the works as well. So if you like it, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you don't, not a big deal. Hopefully at least was educational for you and helped you with your own game. So with that, we're going to put a cut in here. So thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.